qualification. I am most rotten fallen. But I applaud this thing for Christian. This will be accepted. Don't be baptized. All is equal. The being is Krishna. That is my request. Thank you.
Hare Krishna everyone. If you all can face towards me, that would be amazing. So we are going to do a verse from Bhagavad Gita today. We're going to discuss something on Bhagavad Gita. Hare Krishna. So they say that we can't actually see Krishna from our material eyes. So we have to see Krishna from our ears. So usually what happens on Sunday, it is possible that people can be coming here from years, like 40 years and 50 years, coming here, taking darshan, but going back. But what difference does it make in your life? So that's why it's important that when we come to the temple, we just don't come here to just see Krishna, just take a darshan quickly, take a flower and go back. We have to reflect also that why are we coming to the temple? We don't make it ritualistic, but rather we take something useful, something practical in our lives, so that when we go back to the world, then we can actually apply it in our lives as well. And for children also, sometimes what happens that they can be coming here from their birth. Let's say I saw some like newborn babies there. But still, what happens that when they reach to teenage, they don't really know, what's our culture all about. Does even God exist or not exist? It becomes more of a ritual for them as well, because what we tend to do, they tend to follow us. We come here just to have a quick darshan and then we go back. So that's why when we come to the temple, it's important that we try to find some program or some event or to attend some class, so that we can actually know that why we are coming here. And today we are going to discuss something about Bhagavad Gita. I request everyone to participate. That would be amazing if you all can participate, because, I don't want to just speak. I want to listen from you also. We'll do a small prayer, Jai Radha Madhav, and then we will start the class. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवर धारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन। जमुना तीरा वनचारी। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। So we are reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse 62. So I'll be taking one word by word, and then if you can repeat after me so that we can recite the verse as well, because it's purifying to read Krishna's verse directly. Dhyayato Vishyan Punsaha. ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसाः संगास्तेषु पजायते। संगात् संजायते कामः कामात् क्रोधो अभिजायते। ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसाः संगस्तेषु पजायते। संगात् संजायते कामः कामात् क्रोधो विजायते। So let's read word by word translation. Dhyayatah, while contemplating. So you can repeat after me. Vishayan, sense objects. Punsaha, of a person. Sangaha, attachment. Teshu, in the sense objects. Upajayate, develops. Sangat, from attachment. Sanjayate, develops. Kamaha, desire. Kamat, from desire. Krodha, anger. Abhijayate, becomes manifest. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. While contemplating the objects of the senses, a person develops attachment from them, and from such attachment, lust develops, and from lust, anger arises. Please repeat after me. While contemplating the objects of the senses, a person develops attachment for them, and from such attachment, lust develops, and from lust, anger arises. Now we'll read the purport. One who is not Krishna conscious is subjected to material desires while contemplating the objects of the senses. The senses require real engagements, and if they are not engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, they will certainly seek engagement in the service of materialism. In the material world, everyone, including Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, to say nothing of other demigods in the heavenly planets, is subjected to the influence of sense objects. And the only method to get out of this puzzle of material existence is to become Krishna conscious. Lord Shiva was deep in meditation, but when Parvati agitated him for sense pleasure, he agreed to the proposal. And as a result, Kartikeya was born. When Haridas Thakur was a young devotee of the Lord, he was similarly allured by the incarnation of Maya Devi. But Haridas easily passed the test because of his unalloyed devotion to Lord Krishna. As illustrated in the above mentioned verse of Sri Yamunacharya, that is a sincere devotee of the Lord, shuns all the material sense enjoyment due to his higher taste for spiritual enjoyment in the association of the Lord. That is the secret of success. One who is not therefore in Krishna consciousness, however powerful he may be in controlling the senses by artificial repression, is sure ultimately to fail. For the slightest thought of sense pleasure will agitate him to gratify his desires. Om Agyanti Mirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurudmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshitarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. So in this verse, the translation is basically, it's like I work in, my background is psychology, so everything is just, it makes so much of sense here, because actually the second chapter, actually Bhagavad Gita is like a manual to live our life. So whenever you get an appliance in your home, like, you know, any appliance, let's say washing machine or whatever you get, what do you get with it? You get a manual to operate the appliance. Same way, we have got this body, this material body, and we have got a manual of it to use as well, how to use this material body. But we don't really know about it, or maybe no one has told us about it, but I can tell you about it today. And that manual is Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is not just for, you know, spiritually enlightened people. Bhagavad Gita is meant for everyone. This book is the manual for everyone in the world to how to live their life, especially if you have taken a human birth. So basically, Bhagavad Gita was spoken in the battlefield of Kurukshetra when Arjuna was bewildered. He could not fight. He had to fight, but he could not fight because his family was in front of him. So he started shaking. His bow was, you know, he was trembling, and he basically had a panic attack in the war. And then he accepted Lord Krishna as his guru, who was his charioteer at that moment. And then, you know, Bhagavad Gita, Shri Krishna actually spoke Bhagavad Gita. Now this is the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and second chapter, the name of the second chapter is Contents of the Gita Summarized. So actually second chapter basically gives us the fundamental goals and purpose of Bhagavad Gita. Like it gives us a summary of whole Bhagavad Gita. This verse, which is text 62, from here Krishna starts telling Arjuna that why a conditioned soul, when he comes in the material world, when does the fall down happens. So he mentions here, if you see the translation, while contemplating the objects of the senses. So this verse is very beautiful actually, because here what Krishna is trying to tell Arjuna, that you don't have to be a yogi or a sadhu or maybe a Naga Baba in Himalayas to perform spirituality. You can be a sadhu while doing your material duties, the duties which have been given to you. So here, actually Krishna has started telling Arjuna that how the fall down happens. So the first step in the fall down is contemplating the objects of the senses. So it's very important to, first of all, when we come in a spiritual place like this, to realize, to basically, sit somewhere and kind of that what's the purpose of the life. I don't know how many of you have tried to do it, try to realize that, try to actually ask yourself this question, that why I am here, why I have taken birth, what's going to happen when I'm going to die. These fundamental questions which we should ask ourselves as human beings, because that intelligence has been only given to us. Cats and dogs and other animals, they can't really do that, because the point of existence is that they want to eat and they want to defend themselves. But we as human beings, what's our purpose of life? If our purpose of life is just eating, sleeping, mating and defending, then I'll let you know that animals are doing everything of all these 4 things better than us. When it comes to eating, we need to choose food, cook food, and then we get indigestion problems and this and that and so many things. But you give outside in India especially to a street dog anything and he will eat, and he wouldn't have any indigestion problems. If you have seen a pig who can eat practically anything you give him, he can eat filth. But have you seen a pig which is like slim and trim and malnutrition, he needs some nutrition or vitamins and all that stuff? No. So they are doing good in terms of eating also. Sleeping, I work in mental health, and I work with young people, and it's just astonishing to me that how these children, 13, 14, 15 years of age, they have to take sleeping pills to sleep. They can't really sleep without sleeping pills. So we have to prescribe them ketamine or something like that just to sleep. Just as basic as fundamental need, sleep. People in this Kali Yuga, they are not even able to do that. But have you seen any animal? I don't know if an animal can get sleeping problems or insomnia. I don't think so. They will get that. When it comes to defending, we need these palaces and big machineries and all these arms and nuclear bombs and whatever, what not, to protect ourselves in the name of defending. But animals still, they are better than us, even in defending. If you see a bird sitting, at the corner of the road and a car is coming, she will just fly just quickly. But would we be able to do that? No. And then last is mating, which again, animals, I have seen, there are animals who can give birth to 10, young ones at the same time. So that's not the purpose of the life, what I mean to say. The purpose of life is something else. If we have taken birth as a human being, we need to, rewire things in our brain, that what we have learned and what we are teaching our children. Because I know I was not born in a Krishna conscious family, and all I was taught from the beginning that you have to study hard. And why do you have to study hard? Because you have to earn money. And why you have to earn money? Then I came to this country and I realized that I'm not really satisfied. I'm not very happy. But what's the purpose of earning money? Yes, we have to earn money for our survival. But is it giving me ultimate happiness? No one actually taught me about that. So what gives the happiness? We are always trying to find happiness outside in the world, through the objects of sense gratification. But happiness, for example, let's take the example of iPhone. I don't have an iPhone, but the versions, like the latest version, 15, 16, 17, 18, I know my friends, they get iPhones and they're so excited to get an iPhone. And then when the next one comes, they want to take the other one, then they want to take the other one. There's no satisfaction. So this happens to us for everything. If we have a small car, we need a bigger one. If we have a small house, we need a bigger one. And when we ask ourselves, why do we need it? We really don't have the answer. So are we trying to limit, when are we trying to be satisfied? What's the purpose of the life? What are we teaching to the future generations? Are we telling them to, take part in this rat race forever, and then at the end of their life, they're going to ask themselves what I have really done in my life? So if we are coming to the temple, we need to ask these existential questions to ourselves first. Now the second thing is happiness, as I was talking about it. Happiness is not a concept it's not an external concept. We can try to get happiness from as I gave the example of a car or an iPhone or this and that, but that happiness is not really real happiness. It's a fake happiness. We are trying to persuade ourselves or convince ourselves that it's gonna make me happy, but it would not, and we know that. Happiness comes from within, and how do we get that? How do we reach to that stage of satisfaction that we don't have to put efforts to change our external circumstances to get that happiness? Like I was just giving, my friend was giving like a class just here for the Sunday Love Feast program, and he works in Google. And I was just telling that, he has renounced everything. He used to work in Google, and he's now going to move to the ashram. Why people are doing it? Why we are here all day doing kirtans, trying to imbibe ourselves in this spiritual wisdom? Because there's a reason behind it. And you can do it. You don't have to leave everything to seek that inner happiness. You can do it while doing your material duties also. And here, we are going to see that how Krishna is unfolding it. So, whenever we want to seek happiness, the first step is contemplating the object of the senses. For example, let's take the example of a car. If you want a car, then you have to think about it first. You have to meditate on that first, and then that you might not have even seen the car physically, but just because you have seen an advertisement or anything like that, you will keep on meditating on that car to the extent that you are attached to it. So after contemplation, the next step is getting attached to the sense object. And then the third step is to desire it, which is lust. Lust here doesn't only mean, something sensual or some sexual desire. Lust means calm. Calm in Sanskrit. And calm can be for anything. We are lusty for everything. We want everything. If someone has got something better than us, we want to have it, just right then. So, contemplation, then the second step is getting attached to it by meditating on it. Then the third is desiring it or lust. And if it's not fulfilled, if our lust is not fulfilled, then what happens? Then the anger arises. So these are the steps of falling down from a sane stage. And then when the anger arises, the person gets bewildered. What is the meaning of bewilderment? That when you are angry, if you know, how many of us take an action or say something after thinking? We actually speak first, take the action first in a provocating situation, and then we think about it. Okay, I shouldn't have done that. So, in anger, what happens? That we take steps which were not really, or actions which were not really required at that moment. And it happens with all of us. If you are a parent, and sometimes you realize that, okay, I have shouted on my son, on my kid unnecessarily, and then you think about it, okay, that was not really required. Or if sometimes you can just throw something. So that's what is it? It's bewilderment. So after anger basically takes away all our wisdom just at that moment. And then comes the failure of memory. Failure of memory actually means this is actually meant for someone who was trying to control his senses, but now after the anger he has got so bewildered that now, if you know, when you're angry, you can't really think of anything. You just want to speak. It happens with me a lot. I just want to speak, and that moment of, okay, I wanna teach them a lesson, that kind of thinking. We forget about everything that person might be going through, or that person have done for us, but we just want to teach them a lesson at that moment. So this is called failure of memory. So these are the steps of falling down in the material world, basically, or maybe further fall down. So I have a story related to this. Who wants to listen the story? It's a very interesting story. Very, very much similar to these steps. So there was a man named Bill Mangal Thakur. It's mentioned in the history, in the scriptures. And he was born in a very pious family. He was a Brahmana. And what happens, and he had a wife also. So he was living a very nice, pious life. So what happens, he's in the marketplace once he saw a prostitute, very beautiful prostitute, and his name was Chintamani. So when he goes back, he starts contemplating the first step, contemplating on Chintamani, how beautiful she was, if I can just touch her, and all that stuff. So he starts contemplating on Chintamani, and then he gets attached, and then the lust arises, and then he goes. She used to live across the river, so somehow he made his way across the river and he approached Chintamani. Now both of them fell in love, and Chintamani was a prostitute, and both of them fell in love. And he started living his life, practically all his life, with Chintamani, leaving his wife. And one day, it was the Shraddha ceremony that when someone dies in one's house, then they have to go and do all these rituals, basically for the liberation of the soul of that family member. So once there was a Shraddha ceremony of Bilmangal Thakur's father. And he was called by his wife. His wife crossed the river, and his wife was a very pious lady, very chaste lady, and he used to follow and listen to Bilmangal Thakur, whatever he used to do. She was okay with that. She was very morose. She was very sad by the actions of Bilmangal Thakur, but she was a very chaste wife. So she called him, and she fell into the feet of Chintamani. And Chintamani was a very nice lady, although she was a prostitute, but she was a very nice lady. And then she requested Chintamani that please let him go just for one day. I want him to do the Shraddha ceremony of his father. And then Chintamani then convinced, Bilmangal Thakur that please go, this is your duty, you should do Shraddha ceremony. And when he goes back, he does the Shraddha ceremony, but just in the daytime. He just went there for one day. And by evening, he started craving for Chintamani. He just wanted to see Chintamani again. So what he does, and it was torrentially raining. And the rain was it was like a storm. It was a very bad storm. And the river was at its full flow. And he did not tell his wife, and he ran towards Chintamani. And he did not care that he's going to drown in the river because it's raining and it's a storm and he will die basically. So what he does, he ran towards the river, and then he jumps into the river. And his wife also ran towards him, and then she gave up her life jumping into the river because she was she wanted to have him, she wanted to call him back, but she gave up her life. Then, somehow, Bilmangal Thakur, he was stuck in this river, in this storm. So he found something to hang on to, basically, just a piece of wood. He thought that it's a piece of wood, and he thought that Chintamani has sent this boat, this log for him, so that he can, climb into it and he can cross the river. So somehow he crossed the river by hanging on to that piece, whatever it was. Somehow he crossed the river, and it was raining like anything. It was a storm. And he reached the hut of Chintamani. Then the doors were closed of the house because Chintamani did not really, she was like, okay, he's going to come next day or maybe after a few days because, he wouldn't come just now. It's raining, it's storming. How would he come? So the doors were closed. So he went to the back gate and he saw there was a rope hanging. So he thought that, oh, Chintamani, my Chintamani, she loves me so much, she has actually left a rope hanging so that I can climb it and enter the house from the terrace. And he does that. What he did, he basically climbed through that rope and entered the house. And then he came in front of Chintamani, and Chintamani was very surprised. She was taken aback, and she asked him that, how did you come here? It's raining, it's not raining, it's torrentially raining, and it's a storm, and the trees are falling apart, and how did you ended up being here? Then he told him that, but you sent me that piece of logs, in the river, and I climbed onto it, and I came here, and then you left that rope hanging from the roof so that I can climb it. And then Chintamani came out, and she saw that actually that piece he climbed onto and he crossed the river was actually his wife's dead body. And that rope was actually not a rope, it was a snake. So Chintamani at that moment told him that she was very disgusted by Bilv Mangal Thakur basically. And she said that the kind of attachment you have for me, if you have just 1% of this attachment to Krishna, then you can go back to Godhead. You can actually fulfill the purpose of your life. And then he became a saint, and that actually opens his eyes. And then further on he left Chintamani, and then he get into the path of renunciation. And then the story goes on. He goes to Vrindavan, and then Krishna gives him darshan. But the point here is what Prabhupada is trying to say, that just by contemplating on something, what Bilv Mangal Thakur did, he just thought about, he just had a look on that perspective, and he started contemplating on it. So what happens that we start getting into this entanglement of birth and death, which has been going for us from so many births, millions and trillions and zillions of births, because the first thing is contemplating on the sense objects. So we have to control ourselves when it comes to, we need to come back and think that, is it really necessary for me what I am doing right now? What are the priorities in my life? So, and Prabhupada actually gives that these stages are given in Bhagavad Gita: contemplation, attachment, feeling angry and falling down. But then Prabhupada gives the solution here also, which Chintamani gave to Bilv Mangal Thakur, and the solution is that the senses, the mind, sometime what people say that you meditate, and what's the goal of meditation, as they tell us, is to empty your mind. Don't think about anything. Now, it is not possible at all to not think about anything at any moment. You can't really, even for a nanosecond, it's not possible that you cannot think about anything. So the senses have to be engaged. We have got the senses, we have got eyes, ears. Every moment, with every breath, we are doing a karma. We are thinking about something. The thoughts are coming in the minds. Thousands and hundreds and thousands of thoughts are passing through our mind every second. So the karmas are happening all the time. So it's not possible that we don't engage our senses. But we can engage, when we engage our senses in Krishna's service. So basically you have to change the object of gratification. So when we change our perspective, when we use the same senses to serve Krishna, that's called Yukta Vairagya. Yukta Vairagya means that you can have everything. You can be a billionaire. But when your consciousness is that I have to serve Krishna somehow, that is Yukta Vairagya. So we are performing so many karmas, and you will have to get the reactions. It's not possible that you do something wrong to someone and then you think that it's not going to come back to me. It will come back to us. Somehow or other it will. Even if you are doing something good or bad. Bad things, there are two types of karmas. There are many types of karmas, but I'll give grossly, they are divided into two types of karmas. Bad karmas and good karmas. So if you do a bad karma, the bad karma is going to come back to you. Not in this life, next life. If you do a good karma, you'll get the pious reaction of it. You might go to heaven, but good karma and bad karma, they both are termed as poison. Why? Because bad karma is poison, but good karma is sugar-coated poison. So you might go to heaven, but then you finish all your pious, the result of your pious activities, but then you have to come back again here in this world and start from the beginning as an insect, or maybe as a worm or as a tree, and then it will take again 100,000 births to come back to the human form of life. So this human form of life is actually very precious, because that's the only species when we can actually contemplate, we can actually question ourselves that why I have taken birth. What's the purpose of all of this? When I'm gonna die, what's gonna happen next? So you can have everything. We are not asking people to give up everything. If you have children, raise them up. If you have a house, make a bigger house. If you have a car, get a bigger house, but use it for the service of Krishna. If you are going for work, everything is Krishna's energy. It's not like in Vaikuntha or in spiritual world only Krishna's energy is there. This body is also given by Krishna. This mic is also given by Krishna. If I use this mic in a club, then it is material. But if I use the same mic to do Krishna Katha, which I'm doing right now, then it becomes spiritual. So spiritual is not something, what we think about, like, some, like some other planets and some dazzling lights and here and there and people taking LSD and seeing halos around people, and all that stuff. That's not spirituality. Can be when you use anything for the service of Krishna, you revive the spiritual nature of that object, because everything is Krishna's energy. What is not Krishna's energy? We are taking every breath by Krishna's mercy. You all are here because of Krishna's mercy. We are here today ending up somehow. Do we think that we are here because of our own will? That you can do maybe outside, but when you enter in the temple, you're sitting here, you're listening Krishna Katha, that is somehow Krishna's mercy. We can't end up here you can't end up here by your own will. If you're thinking that, that's wrong. Krishna has somehow called you here to listen to this. There are 1,000 people who come every Sunday here, but there are not 1,000 people in the temple rooms listening to this. So this could be your beginning. And whatever you will do, the people who are looking up to you, they're going to do the same thing. Your children, they're going to do the same thing. What foundation are we giving to them? We need to ask them ourselves. If we are asking them to study, but don't make their goal just about accumulating money. Because trust me, they are gonna, it's a wrong kind of upbringing. You're doing unfair to them. The same, today is actually a very special day. Today is actually the appearance day of Lord Varaha. Someone knows about Lord Varaha Dev? Who's Lord Varaha Dev? So Lord Varaha Dev is actually the boar, when Vishnu or Bhagwan, Krishna, takes the form of a wild boar, a wild pig basically, and then he lifted Mother Earth from the ocean. Now, when Krishna took the form of this boar, it doesn't mean that Krishna is a boar. Krishna is not. That's Krishna's original form, that's how Krishna looks. But when he takes this form of a boar, it means that he's doing it for the pleasure. There are two reasons why he does what he does. He comes to the material world for two reasons. He mentioned it in Bhagavad Gita. The first reason is for the pleasure, to deliver his devotees, for the pleasure of his devotees. And the second reason is to kill the miscreants, to kill the demons. And when Krishna takes, like we have that picture, if you see that on the left hand side, there's a picture of the wild boar, Lord Varaha Dev. Now people who doesn't know about it, they can come up and they can ask, are you worshipping a pig? That's not a normal material pig who like plays in the filth. That's the form of Krishna. Krishna takes the form of a boar. Why does he take the form of a boar? As I mentioned, to give the pleasure to his devotees or to kill the miscreants. The example which is given is that Prabhupada gives the example of some president. I don't remember the name of the president, but once someone comes to basically meet him, and his assistant, the assistant of this president, told him that he's busy right now, he can't meet you, so you'll have to wait. And the person who was waiting, he saw somehow that in the garden the same president was on his knees, and he was having his grandchild on his back, and he was walking like a horse. So Prabhupada tells that just because he's walking like a horse, he has become a horse, doesn't mean that he is a horse. His original position as a president remains that. But because he wants to enjoy with his grandchild, for the pleasure of his grandchild, and because he wants to have that rasa, that's why he took the form of that horse. So same way Krishna, he wants to enjoy, basically. He wants to have this, he wants to give pleasure to his devotees. He wants to kill the miscreant. That's why he takes the form of a boar. Doesn't mean that he is a boar or he is a wild pig, but he takes that form. So when Lord Varahadev comes, he kills a demon named Hiranyaksh. Hiranyaksh means, I won't get into the full story because it's a long story. We have only got 10 minutes. So Hiranyaksh means, Hiranya means gold and Aksh means eye. So someone whose eyes are always on gold or money. Gold basically means that, he wants to accumulate everything. So, and then Lord Varahadev actually killed this demon named Hiranyaksh. He was very powerful. When he got into the womb of his mother Diti, then there were volcanoes erupting everywhere, and there were meteorites, they were hitting the earth, and there was tsunamis everywhere. And they were actually, Hiranyaksh and Hiranyakashipu, they were two brothers, and they were kept in the womb of their mother for 100 years, because the mother Diti was saying that in the womb you are making such a havoc. When you will come out, what you will do. So she kept them for 100 years in her womb. And then when finally they came out, they actually created a big havoc. So Krishna came in the form of this boar to kill Hiranyaksh. And what is the meaning of Hiranyaksh? Someone who eyes on money all the time, who eyes on gold all the time. Now, in this Kali Yuga, we all are small Hiranyaksh in ourselves. And that's what we are teaching to our children, to others. What's the purpose of life? To earn money and to enjoy. Now, this is exactly same what Hiranyaksh was doing. So on this day of appearance day of Lord Varahadev, we should ask Varahadev that please help us to get rid of this mentality of accumulating all the time. There was one more quality which Hiranyaksh had. He wanted to fight for no reason. So actually, how it all started, he actually get into this planet of Lord Varuna. Varuna is the demigod of water. He deals with water. And he wanted to have a fight with him. So he actually challenged Lord Varuna. And Varun Dev said that, no, I'm not going to fight with you, because Hiranyaksh was so strong. He was extremely strong. Now, Hiranyaksh, he was going to fight with him for no reason. There was no reason. He just wanted to fight with him. So we see people around us also sometimes that they just want to pick up a fight. So, these all are the symptoms which we have got from these demons from Satyuga. And now we all have them. In that Yuga, only one person had it, who was killed by Varahadev. But in this Kali Yuga, we all have these symptoms. How easily, Kali Yuga is also known as the age of quarrel. It's so easy to agitate someone in this, as we discussed about anger in the beginning from this verse. It's so easy to agitate someone. If you want to pick up a fight with someone, it's so easy. You just have to say one word and that person will be agitated like this. And then you can have a go on this, and then you can keep the grudge for whole your life, and you can enjoy maybe that grudge. But it's just so easy to agitate someone. People just want to pick up fight. And that was the quality of Hiranyaksh. So we need to ask ourselves now, I've spoken a lot, that how can we improve? When we are coming to the temple, what do we take back? If you haven't started reading Bhagavad Gita, please start reading Bhagavad Gita, because this is the manual of life. It's not just meant for spiritually enlightened people. It's meant for children, old, young, rich, poor. It's meant for everyone. So that was, I think I'll give a pause now, and if someone has a question or a comment, they can ask or maybe correct me if someone has got a question or comment. Yes. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Okay. So you said, how do we deal with anger, lust, and greed and all those qualities? Okay. It's a gradual process, Mataji. I am not myself on that level that I have dealt with all these things myself. So I can't really give an absolute answer. But it's a gradual process. It's not gonna happen in one day. We are practicing this, and someone can practice it for years and years. Even in Krishna consciousness, I'm gonna give you a very practical and honest answer. I'm not gonna tell you go chant a round of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and it's vanished. It's not gonna happen like that. It takes time, it takes efforts. But one thing which has worked for me is the association of devotees. When we stay in the association of devotees, like-minded devotees, then things can happen. We can learn a lot from them. And slowly, by chanting, by praying to Krishna, we can overcome these feelings. But it's not easy, especially anger and qualities like lust. Greed is also, when you come to Krishna consciousness, you start enjoying the process. So the material attachment to, I would say, to money and wealth, that can easily go away. But something like anger and lust, it's very hard to get overcome, basically. So it's a very gradual process. I won't be able to give you a very absolute answer. But if you are chanting, increase your chanting and take the association of devotees as much as you can. Especially the devotees who are inspiring you. Because even in the devotee community, there could be chance that you are taking their association and the things are not that well. So the people who inspire you, you take their association and learn from them, share things with them, try to be in a positive environment. And whenever you feel some grudge in your heart, you come in front of Krishna and cry in front of him, complain to him rather than going and shouting at someone else. I think that can help. You'll have to give me an example, Mataji, because it's such a vague question. Okay. So, Mataji asked the question that if someone is doing wrong with us and with negative, it's like basically a negative person, then how do we deal with that? Now, I had this very same kind of situation. Few years ago, I was not in Krishna consciousness then. Not few years ago, it was very long back. And I went to my mentor. I was not a very good devotee at that time. I went to that my mentor, and I told him that, this person, he's just so negative. Whenever I'm even looking at this person, I get his negative vibrations. And then my mentor told me that it's not actually the person who is negative, it's you who are negative. Because just by looking at someone, you can't get it's not like a diffusion happening or we all are Krishna's children. No one is negative in that sense. We all are Krishna's children. We all have Paramatma inside us. I had the grudge somewhere. Now your question is very valid, that how do we deal with it? Try to make your distance with them. If not possible, we don't ask here people to be a doormat and let people, use you as a doormat. We are not asking that. What we are asking that, one thing which we can do is we speak before, we think before we speak. And then if nothing is working, you do all your actions, what you can to stabilize the situation. But if nothing is working, then you have to make your distance with that person. That's what I can suggest you on a very practical level, that you have to maintain even if in the temple, I'm telling you that even in the temple, you can just say Hare Krishna to that person and then move. We don't have to, devotees doesn't mean that you have to go and hug everyone and, no, just say Hare Krishna, keep your distance and Hari Bol. That's what I can say. Hare Krishna. Anyone else has any questions or comments? No? Okay, so we'll conclude the class here. Thank you so much for coming here. Prasadam is being served in the Haveli all day today till the evening, so you can go and have prasadam. And you can start thinking about these questions, that what we want to give our children. Because it's very important. Trust me, it's very important. It's very important to ask ourselves that why I'm here. And if you haven't really found out the answer is here in this book called Bhagavad Gita. So yeah, we can slowly start making some progress. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Namam Vishnu Padaya Vishnavrastaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Auravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Prastachare Shatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,